Well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another episode of the All In Show right here on Clemson at the Voice of College Football. Thank you so much for joining me. We got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. Bowl games coming up. We'll get more into kind of that matchup next week, but tons to talk about. Guys coming back, guys declaring for the NFL draft, opt-outs, ACC schedule format changing, all of that and more coming up in tonight's episode. But before we get into the show tonight, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. We are on the road to 6,000 subscribers. Your help with that would be greatly appreciated. Also, consider becoming a channel member if you would like access to exclusive content, game streams, things like that. Consider becoming a channel member. Click that join button right below this video. Select the tier and become a supporter on a monthly basis of Clemson at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate your help with that. Hit that like button while you're in here. Really helps us on these live videos, and it's free. It's a very simple way for you to support the channel. So I trust that you guys will do that while you're in here. Hit that like button. And then last but certainly not least, as we get towards the end of the show, we'll turn it over to you guys, the comment section. We can't get to all the comments, so if you want to be sure that your comment and or question is read and responded during this live episode, be sure to hit that super chat feature, and we will respond accordingly. All right, guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, Jordan Bowman. Jordan, what's up, man? How you doing tonight? Clemson basketball is currently playing South Carolina. So we're going to obviously keep an eye on that as the show goes on tonight. But lots to talk about when it comes to Clemson football. It is a crazy time of year when it comes to transfers and opt-outs and NFL declarations and injuries and all sorts of stuff. But it's going to be fun to talk about tonight.
Yeah, man. We're going to keep an eye on the game tonight. Hopefully try to keep it to that losing streak of us watching the game on live to 1, because last week was kind of a disaster, and y'all got to kind of see that unfold live. So hopefully that's not what happens tonight. This is a considerably worse team that you're playing tonight. So you should win this game, rivalry, all of that. Get some revenge for last year. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm doing good. Doing good. It's a hectic time in college football right now, and a hectic time in everybody's lives because it's December, and that means Christmas shopping and all sorts of things, and all the festivities and the holidays. And my wallet is suffering right now. I also got a birthday coming up for my little brother's birthday is coming up, so just kind of throw that on top of everything. But yeah, other than that, things are great. How about you?
It's going. It's certainly a busy time of year. Finished up the softball season last weekend, so that's all done, and ready for a little bit of a break there. I'm starting winter workouts and all that kind of stuff for her. So, but my Saturdays are free again for the most part, so that'll be fun. Again, traveling. Probably going to be traveling for the holidays, much like a lot of our listeners, and almost completely done Christmas shopping. Think I got a couple of things to get, but for the most part, the bulk of it is done. Now, is anything wrapped yet? Absolutely not.
Hell no.
Absolutely not. So I'll get on that at some point.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, there's nothing like last minute gift wrapping, man. It's a time. It's a yearly tradition for me, so I can't wait for it.
I'm always wrapping something on Christmas Eve night, right before I go to bed. So I'm sure that will not change this year either.
Yep. Y'all let us know what y'all are getting your loved ones for Christmas, what you might be getting for Christmas, or in the holiday season in general, how you're choosing to celebrate. But yeah, man. Let's dive right on into it. This is it's been a pretty eventful week. We got a lot to talk about. Some good, some bad, some kind of in between. Some interesting conversations to be had about some of the things that certain people have said and done. So I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. But before we do, let's quick shout out to the comment section. All the people getting in here. Isaac Smith's in here. John Sarian's in here. One of our moderators, one of the OGs of the channel, and also a monthly supporter of the channel. So thank you so much for being in here, John. Appreciate you. Isaac Smith said he's done no Christmas shopping yet. Brother, you got to get on it, man. I'm always late to the party too, but I'm glad we could break the news that, yes, in fact, Christmas is next week, and you got some work to do. Jared Clark gets in here as well. So thank you guys all for getting in here tonight. But let's go ahead and dive into the show. We got several things to talk about. So let's do it. Jordan, Clemson got massive news this week when we heard that defensive end Will Heldt, Purdue transfer, is coming back for yet another season with the Clemson Tigers. Going to finish out his college career here with the Tigers and obviously declare for the NFL draft next year. This is huge news. One, because of the loss of some of the bigger pieces along that defensive line, obviously, namely Peter Woods, defensive tackle, probably going to be the highest guy drafted for Clemson this upcoming NFL draft. And then you got opposite of Will Heldt this season was TJ Parker. Now, TJ Parker did not have his banner year, obviously, at the position, but he has been a great talent at Clemson and produced at a high level. He declares for the NFL draft. I felt like Clemson really needed to keep one of those guys, whether it was TJ Parker and Will Heldt. I always thought Will Heldt was the guy that we had the best chance at keeping for another season. That turns out to be true. We keep Will Heldt on, sign him to probably a lucrative NIL deal, probably much more than he was making last year, probably in the neighborhood of what TJ Parker was making last year, seeing as he was probably the most consistent defensive lineman, specifically at the defensive end position all season last year. So your thoughts on Will Heldt returning to Clemson, what that means for this Clemson defense, and how that shapes this defensive end group going forward for the 2026 season?
Yeah, it's massive, man. I mean, just for the simple fact that you have that continuity, and I mean, you know what you're getting. Will Heldt has, I mean, this season, he's going to create tackles per loss. He's going to make plays in the backfield. He can set the edge. I mean, he's just a very kind of do-it-all player, and he was just very, very consistent throughout the season. He played with the motor that you expected to see out of this defense. You didn't get it from all the players, but Will Heldt was not one of those players you questioned question whether he was given 100% or question whether like he was comfortable with what he was doing. So I was super excited. I mean, really, like we can complain about what this season has been and all the things that this team didn't do, but I mean, when you can retain one of your best players, it's always a good feeling, because he certainly had the opportunities to potentially go to the draft or maybe find somewhere else that would maybe give him a better opportunity to compete for a championship. So I think all of those things need to be I think those things need to be commended. I think, good job to Clemson, the NIL apparatus and all of the things that they've been able to do in terms of retention. I mean, it still matters. I know that, this past season, was all about retention and you went 7-5, but it's still important to keep your best players. Yeah. And this is a massive step towards that. And it just kind of gives you some comfort at the defensive end position. Now, I don't think that it solves all the questions. I mean, depth wise, I really don't know what to think about this group next year. Other than you're probably your top two guys returning, likely Will Heldt and Jaheim Lawson, and so but behind them, nothing's proven, and that's the thing that scares me the most. So, but at least you have your starting two answered, and I think that's important, heading into this portal cycle.
Yeah, it'd be much worse if Will Heldt wasn't returning from a depth standpoint, from just an outlook for that defensive end position. There'd be much more work to do in the transfer portal for the defensive end group. Obviously, still work to be done there, I believe. But Will Heldt coming back is a huge shot in the arm for this 2026 version of the Clemson Tigers. He's going to play opposite Jaheim Lawson. Those will probably be your two starters in 2026, barring some sort of big transfer that you may or may not land, right? But I think those will be your two starters, and there need to be some quality depth pieces pursued in the portal, particularly at the defensive end position, but other positions as well. This is – the big retention last season did not work out for the Tigers, but it's never a bad thing to retain your best players, as you mentioned. And he was certainly, from a production standpoint, from a consistency standpoint, was probably your best performing defensive lineman in 2025. So you get him back. That's a major thing. So shout out to Chris Rump, shout out Dabo Sweeney, shout out the NIL collective there at Clemson, getting the job done, getting the numbers right, and making Will Heldt feel comfortable enough to commit to the Tigers for yet another season. And I think it's going to be a good one because he's a guy that has a high motor. He's really disciplined. You hear the guys in the program talk about him. They call him a robot. He's about his business. And I think he's going to have a major impact on that defense in 2026 for the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then, and it says a lot just kind of how a transfer from a 2-10 squad came onto this team and what made the impact that he did in year one. I think that was a much needed thing for this. For your head coach and for this program to see that, hey, man, the transfer portal is a tool, is a positive. It can be used to enhance your roster, enhance a position room. and you got a star football player out of it. And this was not a player that you outbid a bunch of schools for. I mean, he got offers from LSU and Texas A&M that exceeded what Clemson offered, not by much, but still more. And so, it's a testament to the fact that this program can be successful in the portal. They can get impact players in the portal without being the biggest spenders on the market. I mean, hell, just an hour down the road in Athens, they're doing that. I mean, Georgia is, despite what people want to think, Georgia is not like the highest spenders in college football right now in terms of portal guys or even in recruiting. Obviously, winning a couple national championships in the last last 4 or 5 years, helps a ton. You kind of get the championship discount. But I mean, Dabo still has some of that cachet from his championships left. I mean, just getting to play for a future Hall of Fame coach. I mean, that is lucrative. There are guys that still want to play for Clemson, a lot of guys that still want to play for Clemson, and guys that can help you next season. So Will Heldt is just is an example of that. And I think you'll see this program, lean a little bit more into the portal, not just by choice. Obviously they kind of need to, but I do think that the attitude towards the portal has softened a good bit by the results that you got, particularly from Will Heldt. You can get an impact player, in the transfer portal, which, I mean, other schools have shown you. It's not like you needed to see it here for you to believe it. But I don't know. Some people some of our fans drank the Dabo Kool-Aid or whatever about the portal being this. And I don't want to mischaracterize Dabo's statements. He didn't call the portal evil, but the aversion or the hesitancy to the portal that he displayed in the past, I think some fans kind of adopted that. And listen, it's time. I mean, I'm not saying you need to go out and get 15, 20 players from the portal every year, but you need to be supplementing your roster, supplementing your depth at the very least. And of course, recruiting still being the lifeblood of your program. That's how the best programs in college football are doing it right now, and that's how you need to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to go to the portal. You have to supplement your roster where you have holes, and this Clemson roster, it has a lot of holes this offseason that are going to have to be filled through the portal because there's no other way to fill it. High school recruiting is over. You've signed your class. There's still a ton of holes on this Clemson roster that need to be addressed, need to be filled if you are going to be a competitive team in 2026. So lots of work to get done for this staff, but check the box, at least one of the boxes at defensive end because you got Will Heldt back. Big time get for the Clemson Tigers. This is huge. I'm excited to have him back. And I think all Clemson fans will join with me in being excited about having a guy like Will Heldt back in your program for another season. Look to him have a big year for this Clemson Tiger defense.
100%.
Guys, for more news, make sure you're checking out the Voice of College Football website. That is correct. We have a website, vocfb.com. That's vocfb.com. Tons of articles over there for you to read through. Big stories in college football. Our show schedules there off to the left. Not just this show, but all the shows within the Voice of College Football network. Fan pages, forums, all sorts of stuff over there. Go check it out, vocfb.com. That's vocfb.com for your one-stop shop for all things Voice of College Football. Jordan, the portal continues to churn for the Clemson Tigers. We had another entry, our latest entry into the portal, I think marks the 5th Clemson Tiger to enter the portal this offseason. Jamal Anderson enters the portal, linebacker for Clemson. Never could really crack that starting lineup. I think this is a guy that is seeking a better opportunity, an avenue to starting or just more playing time. what's your kind of thoughts on this portal entry? Obviously, it's at a position of need for the Tigers. You have a big piece returning in Sammy Brown. You got a guy in Kobe McLeod returning that played pretty well this season, coming off of injury. Obviously, Wade Woodaz is going to be out the door. So there is some question marks for this linebacker group. Jamal Anderson, obviously, out the door. D. Creighton already in the transfer portal as well. So that's 2 linebackers so far from this group that have entered the transfer portal. Your thoughts on just that position group, and then Jamal Anderson and him deciding to move on and pursue other opportunities?
Yeah. Looking at the linebacker room this, coming season, it's certainly a big point of question right now. Just not a lot of proven depth, not a lot of guys that you're going to be able to rely on next season. Sammy Brown, stud, going to be a pretty high draft pick when it's all said and done. Hard to believe that he's already going into his junior season next year, but
that's crazy.
Yeah,
feels like he just got here.
Yeah, really does, man. Gonna miss. Well, let's not even talk about. I'm gonna miss watching him play because you get another year of him. But I think that this is a group that I think Clemson absolutely needs to address in the portal in a big way. I'm not saying they need to get a stud or whatever, but there is a lot of questions with this roster next year. I believe you can get another year out of Jeremiah Alexander. We'll see kind of how that plays. That would be a nice boost. Just having a guy that's played in the program and that's been in the program. Well, not been in the program, but has a year of experience in the program and had some moments this past season where he shined a little bit, but he wasn't able to get on the field consistently. But behind them, you don't have really much of anything in terms of guys that have played. Whether it's Drew Woodaz, whether it's CJ Koopa Taylor, walk on Fletcher Cothran, who I think we'll see a good bit of in the bowl game. It's not a position group that has a whole lot of guys that you feel really comfortable with next year. So Jamal Anderson entering the portal is it's big for depth purposes. In regards to him as a player, I hate that it didn't work out. I genuinely thought that, coming out of high school, I thought he was going to be a stud. I really thought he was going to be a special player, but, got to Clemson, was never really able to develop physically in the way that he needed to, didn't develop mentally in the way that he was expected to. Just a lot of reasons why he didn't get on the field, many of which were his own doing. Some of it is just, some of it may just be genetics, but, it didn't work out. He just wasn't a guy you felt comfortable playing a whole lot of snaps. I mean, he had some moments, but I think he's a good athlete, but he just never really found a home in terms of where he fit into this defense. He was too small to play linebacker, wasn't quick enough to play safety. It's kind of a tweener, and it made things difficult finding a spot for him. So. Just disappointing that didn't work out. Another recruiting miss that you've kind of had in the front seven as of late. It kind of hurts your depth going forward. And Jamal is a guy that I think he'll get some opportunities elsewhere. I know he was close to going to Utah with his father's alma mater before Clemson, but Clemson really did a good job recruiting him. Coming out of high school. So I don't know, maybe he ends up there, who knows? But I just, it's disappointing it didn't work out. Hate that it didn't, because I really thought he was going to be a special football player for you. And it just never really came together. And that's what it is right now. You're not really hitting that linebacker at a high rate right now. And it's hurting you.
Yeah, it's certainly hurting you, and it's a huge position of that has a lot of question marks heading into this offseason. Jamal Anderson moves on. I think it's the right decision for him. I think it's the right decision for Clemson, right? I think both parties are kind of better for this decision. Jamal Anderson is just not going to crack any sort of rotation at Clemson. His body type just doesn't fit what they're doing now. He was recruited at a time where they played a little bit different on the defensive side of the ball, and that has since changed, and he doesn't really fit anywhere. He doesn't have a place where he can carve out any sort of meaningful role on this defense. So I think it makes a lot of sense for him to move on. I think he's got I still think he's got a lot of potential. I mean, I hope he lands somewhere where he gets some opportunities and he, carves out a nice little college career for himself. I truly do hope that. So wish him the best. Obviously, it's not good from a depth standpoint for Clemson, right? Like, there's already question marks at linebacker. You've now had 2 linebackers enter the transfer portal. So obviously there's going to be some work that needs to be done via the transfer portal to not only replace these pieces, but get somebody that can contribute, right? I mentioned you got Sammy Brown returning, and that's really your one true bright spot. Kobe McLeod is a guy that played some quality snaps this year, showed a lot of improvement, and hopefully he takes that next step. But I think you need a guy, right? So we'll see what they end up doing in the portal, but wish Jamal Anderson all the best. Hopefully he lands in a good spot where he gets to get on the field and play finally in his college career, because I still think he can be a good college football linebacker. So we'll see where he lands, and we wish him the best.
Yep, absolutely.
Jordan, 'tis the season. Much like we were talking about with our comment section when we kicked off this show, 'tis the season. It is Christmas time. Just next week, I know there's some, we won't name them in our comment section, who have not done any Christmas shopping, but it's time to get on it. It's time to get to the Christmas shopping. And what better place to start, Jordan, than the Voice of College Football's official merch store? That's correct. The Voice of College Football has our very own merch, and the Clemson channel has our very own merch. Hats, T-shirts, polos, crew neck sweatshirts, tumblers, coffee cups, koozies, whatever you need, right there on the Voice of College Football merch site, VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop. Go check it out. Get that Clemson fan, that special Clemson fan in your life, something nice, or just get yourself something nice and help support the channel here. It would be greatly appreciated by myself and Jordan. And you support the show, and you get something nice for yourself or one of your loved ones. So go check it out, VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop, and get yourself some Clemson merch. Couple NFL draft declarations. Obviously, Antonio Williams declared basically right after the South Carolina game, but he is now underwent, I think, surgery on his shoulder, rehab and that. So obviously he will not play in this bowl game. He is an opt-out, as is DeMonte Capehart. Obviously, DeMonte Capehart's out of eligibility. Everybody knew he was going to the NFL draft. That's no surprise, but he has decided to move on and prepare for the NFL Combine and whatever comes with his draft selection process. So these two guys will not be a part of the Clemson Bowl game. We do wish them well. DeMonte Capehart's a guy that has, maybe not had the NFL career, the Clemson career that we thought it would turn out to be, but he has been extremely productive as a Clemson Tiger. He has been a guy that has plugged up the middle of the defensive line at that defensive tackle position for several years now. you go a season ago, we thought he was going to declare for the NFL draft last season. He was he had a decent season, but it was kind of riddled with injury. He decides to come back. He puts a full, healthy year on the table, has a good season for the Clemson Tigers, and is going to be moving on to the NFL draft. Everybody knows about Antonio Williams and how amazing he has been at Clemson. The offense literally goes as he goes. Exhibit A, just look at the offense early in the season when he was off the field with injury. And then as soon as he got back on the field, look at the production. It's vastly different. The guy's a dog. He's an absolute animal. I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of DeMonte Capehart and, kind of his story, I mean, this is a guy that, came out of IMG Academy, was one of the highest rated tackles in his class. And, he just came to Clemson and, he was in a really star-studded group and he just wasn't able to get on the field as quick as, the Brian Bursees and the Miles Murphys of the world. And, injuries certainly set him back at multiple points through his career. But, I think the potential was always there. And, I think he has a good shot to be a good pro. Just the size, the power. I mean, there's few guys in his class that'll be as strong as him, maybe just his teammate in Peter Woods. And so, I think that's always going to have a place in the league. And I'm excited to see kind of where he ends up, kind of what his draft grade ultimately looks like. Feel like at different points in his career, he could have developed into a first round potential pick, but don't think that's going to be in the cards for him this season. He probably needed to have a little bit more production, a little bit more flash on tape. But I think he could be a good, day 2 pick if the right team picks him. But honestly, I could kind of see him going anywhere from I could see him being a day 3 pick just because he doesn't have the college production that some of these guys have. And this is a really good defensive tackle class coming up. But I do think he'll get drafted. I think he's certainly done more than enough there. And so wish him the best. And then, of course, Antonio Williams. I mean, we've spent a lot of time on the show gushing about Antonio Williams and how good he is. He's going to be a really good pro. And, just kind of what he meant to this offense, statistically, he's going to leave as one of the best that's done it here. I think he's top 5 all time in receptions, and I think he's 11th in yards. I think he's top 5 in touchdowns. Yes. So he's going to be, he's one of the best to do it here. And he's going to be a tough guy to replace. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Both guys are going to leave a hole in this roster. And, several guys. I think we got 5 now that declared, or 4 that declared early for the NFL draft. Obviously, Antonio Williams, Peter Woods, T.J. Parker, and Avion Terrell. Those are your early exits as far as the NFL draft goes. So those guys will not participate in the bowl either. Any 4 of those guys. And DeMonte Capehart will not participate in the bowl either, but wish those guys the best. There's some really good pros in there. And I hope each and every one of those guys has a long career, and has a very successful career, in the NFL. Make sure you're checking out Clemson Live on all your favorite audio streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you're searching Clemson Live while you're on a run, a long drive, whenever you like to consume your podcast. Search Clemson Live. Give us a rate, review, subscribe over there. All of our content is over there, all long-form content, which are these big, long live episodes that we do. Our chopped up videos that we post throughout the week are on there. So go check it out. I promise there's some great content over there for you. So search us up, Clemson Live, rate, review, subscribe. We appreciate your support there. Jordan, it is bowl opt-out season. Whether it be injuries, whether it be the NFL draft, whether it be transfer portal, and the new addition for 2025 is entire teams opting out for bowl games. So this has been a progression for a long time. Clemson's had their fair share of bowl opt-outs. I mentioned all the ones that are declared early for the NFL draft or declared for the NFL draft that will not be participating in the bowl game, and that's DeMonte Capehart, Antonio Williams, Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Avion Terrell. So those are your NFL guys that have said they will not participate in this bowl game. But that's not where the list ends for the Clemson Tigers. Obviously, We've had 5 guys enter the transfer portal, so those guys will not be a part of this bowl game either. But 27 total scholarship players will not be participating in this bowl game, whether it be due to transfer, NFL declarations, or injuries. That is a staggering number. I think Dabo said there's 12 on offense and 14 on defense that will not be participating in this game, which is crazy, especially when you think about some positions where guys are not participating, whether it be due to injury or opt-out or whatever. Clemson's going to be slim for this bowl game. There is not going to be a ton of depth. You're going to see some guys on the field that you have not seen this season because that's just the nature of the beast. There's a lot of guys that are missing. There's a lot of guys getting right from injuries they sustained throughout the season. There's guys moving on to their NFL career. So there's going to be a depth issue for this game. But again, that's bowl season. Almost every team around the country is dealing with similar situations. So your thoughts on just that staggering number of 27 and how this is going to shape up for Clemson, their bowl game, and just moving forward into trying to win this game against Penn State, what some people would have thought may have been a national title game preseason.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
Boy, were we wrong?
Yeah, this was not like even remotely in the cards, in preseason. But no, I mean that's just kind of the reality of bowl season. And in years past, Clemson has done a good job. When they haven't made the playoff of kind of getting that, just kind of rallying the troops a little bit and getting guys to play, but. I mean, just as we've gotten deeper into this new era of college football, the less they've been able to kind of fight against it. The bowl opt-outs are just a thing now. You're going to have guys not playing. You're going to have some important guys not playing. Obviously, your NFL draft guys are out. Wade Woodaz is not playing due to injury. So you're going to be missing some key guys. It's nice that you get your quarterback, your starting quarterback to play, Cade Klubnik. He's currently dealing with a thumb injury, but as things stand right now, nobody seems to be too worried about him not playing in the bowl game. And so, I mean, if there's one advantage you have over Penn State is that you'll have your starting quarterback playing. So that's a positive. But I think for both teams, you're really going to see a lot of faces that you didn't see this year. That's just the reality. I mean, especially Penn State with the new coaching, with the coaching change and all the players they've had depart the program already. So it's going to be interesting, man. But my question is how much how do the coaches approach this bowl game? I mean, obviously you're going to approach it to win, but how many guys are you going to play? Who do they feel like is the most ready to play right now? Who do they feel like can come in and give you good, starting, or just average quality snaps? Because you don't know. I mean, this was a team that struggled with depth throughout the season when they had guys available. So I mean, it's it makes you wonder. You're going to see some of the guys, behind the guys. So it's going to be a really interesting experiment to watch unfold. This is not a situation that Clemson is necessarily used to. This has kind of been happening a while in other places in college football, but not Clemson. So it's going to be weird seeing some walk-ons playing some big minutes against a team of the caliber of Penn State.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. I mean, I think there's some guys on this roster that can play. So maybe you'll see some guys make some plays that you didn't expect. So we'll see.
Yeah, there'll certainly be some Clemson fans out there that have to pull up their depth chart to figure out what numbers which on the field.
Some of them might not even be on the depth chart. You might have to go onto the school website, the roster website.
Yeah, you might have to pull up the full roster to see that. That's actually just pull up the PDF roster.
Yeah,
and have it there waiting so you know who's who.
Just print it out and have a printout in front of you so you can just
have a printout and just park it right there on the table beside you as you watch the Clemson game.
Yeah,
there's going to be some guys that play in this game that you have never heard of before or haven't heard of in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, but again, like you said, I'm excited for the game. I think it's cool that there's two media darlings, if you will, preseason media darlings, kind of meeting up in the Pinstripe Bowl. Nobody would have guessed that preseason, yet here we are. You're going to play at a Yankee Stadium. It's going to be crazy. Christmas in New York for the team, so I'm sure that's going to be fun for a lot of the guys that have never been there before. And I'm looking forward to the game. Hopefully Clemson can pull out a W. Hopefully Cade Klubnik can push through whatever injury he's got going on. Obviously, the media got to see a little bit of practice, and he was not throwing at all. Tyler Brown was interviewed later, said he's kind of dealing with a thumb issue, but he should be fine. So we shall see. I'm sure he's going to try to gut it out regardless. That's just kind of who Cade Klubnik is. That's his DNA. That's who he is as a person. That's how he feels about Clemson. He's gonna lay it on the line. He's gonna give all you got, all he has for one last game for the Clemson Tigers. So we'll see how it goes. But 27 is quite a number. It's a staggering number. Not typically something that Clemson has dealt with in the past. This is kind of a first for the Clemson Tigers. But again, with the ever-changing landscape of college football, the craziness in the portal, the NFL opt-outs, and just injuries in general, here you are. You still got to play a game. And as Dabo said in his interview, nobody cares. Nobody cares how many players you're missing. Go play the game. Go win the game. That's what the fans will expect. So we'll see if they can get it done. We'll see if this coaching staff can put together a good game plan and try to get a win over Penn State in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
In the description of this video, guys, there is an Amazon link. If you click it, you will be supporting the voice of college football. So each time that you go on Amazon, because I know that's where we all get most of our Christmas presents for all of our family members. We go on Amazon. We order a bunch of stuff. It shows up at our door. It's really convenient. It's really easy. All we need you to do, guys, is in the description of this video, there's an Amazon link. As you're checking out, you paste that link in your checkout. It changes nothing for you as far as your checkout experience, as far as what you're buying. It simply just helps support the voice of college football and gives us a little bit of a kickback. So if you would like to support the voice of college football, it's a very easy way. It takes no money out of your pocket. It's just simply you pasting a link as you're shopping on Amazon as you normally would. So go check it out in the description of this video. Click the Amazon link, paste it as you're checking out, and help support the voice of college football. Help support me and Jordan here. We really appreciate it. As we've talked about since the Clemson season has ended, the portal is going to be huge. This might be, if not one of the most pivotal off seasons of the Dabo Swinney era at Clemson. The transfer portal is going to be a huge part of that. There are holes all over this roster. You signed a recruiting class that wasn't bad, but it still leaves a lot of holes on this roster. You did not get everybody that you pursued when it came to this recruiting class. You've had players leave, and there are holes on this roster that you need to fill via the transfer portal. Dabo Swinney was interviewed. Obviously, the transfer portal came up. He talked about it. He had some interesting comments, Jordan. I want to get your reaction to his comments because it's certainly been received a couple different ways by the Clemson faithful when it comes to what Dabo said, what he didn't say, what he meant by it, how fans took it. So I'm not going to quote him directly, but I'll give you the gist of what he was saying. Obviously, Clemson's going to have some work to do in the transfer portal. I think everyone knows that they are going to have to fill some positions via the transfer portal. Dabo said they are not going to make deals prior to the transfer portal opening. They're not going to do any backdoor deals. They're not going to agree to any terms with any player prior to that January 2nd date in which the transfer portal officially opens and those players are officially in the transfer portal. That has been received in vastly different ways by the Clemson faithful. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was received kind of how I would have expected. Listen, my thoughts are, it's not the most shocking thing in the world to hear Dabo say that. He's going to take a stand on those type of things, and he's always been about doing things right, doing things by the books when you can. And obviously, the tampering is a thing that's been all over college football. I hate even using the word now because it's a meaningless term. It doesn't hold any sort of weight. You people, it kind of levied at, you can levy it at anybody. It doesn't really matter. Nothing's going to get done. That's just what we're calling tampering is just what recruiting is now, especially in the portal. That's what it is. So listen, I appreciate Dabo's stance on it. Listen, I think you can get players by without tampering, but if there are guys that you really want and got like the truly got the guys that you feel like can truly impact a position room, impact a team, impact a side of the ball. Some of those guys you're just not going to be able to get without playing the game a little bit. You got to play the game, and other guys are doing it to you right now, and doing it to your roster right now. Other programs. So I mean that's just. I mean that's one of the things that I appreciate Dabo for, but also it's incredibly frustrating because obviously he's not going to come out and say we're going to. I don't expect him to come out and say we're going to tamper with guys and we're going to contact guys before they enter the portal. So that's not what I expect him to say. So don't take me as saying like I expected him to say something different. But knowing how he is, off the field, and I'm sorry, not off the field, like not in front of the microphone, that's what he's telling his guys too. That's what he's telling his staff. I mean, that's what he's telling that's what he's telling the NIL collective. That's what he's telling all of the people that are involved with recruiting the transfer portal. And I think that's a little bit frustrating. I mean, I think hey, you can be forward facing and say one thing, but as long as you're doing it. As long as you're actually making steps to to keep up with the competition, behind the scenes, then that's fine with me. I mean, say what you got to say, but I know that behind the scenes that he's practicing what he preaches, and they're not really actively, obviously they're looking in the portal. They're looking at guys. They're actively looking at guys that they feel like they could target or should target and things like that, but. You're not sowing the seeds of getting those deals done, and with portal recruiting, it very much is speed dating. Last season, Clemson had kind of the luxury of not having a lot of time because they were just coming off of the college football playoff loss, and I think there was only a week afterwards. So like there was a lot had to get done in a short period of time. And so guys it kicked everybody into gear, I think. And you were able to get those deals done with Will Heldt and Tristan. Obviously Tristan Smith was the first to announce and Jeremiah Alexander. But now when you're in a situation where you're going to have to take them a lot, at least considerably more than 3 players in the portal, you gotta start kind of getting ahead of the game a little bit. I think that you have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah. I thought his comments were interesting, not surprising if you know Dabo Swinney and his tenure at Clemson and kind of what he stands for and how he goes about things. He's always been a guy that has at least projected to the media, to fans, and everybody else that he goes about things the right way. He wants Clemson's program to do things the right way. He doesn't want to tamper with players, and I respect that. As a Clemson fan, as a college football fan, I think some of this tampering, some of this crazy world of college football that we live in right now, I don't think it's sustainable. I know a lot of people come out and say that, but I truly don't think this version of college football is sustainable. But I'm hoping that this is a stepping stone into a better version of college football that we are eventually going to get to. Because the wild, wild west that we currently live in of the NIL and the transfer portal and the constant roster turnover and just crazy, it's not sustainable. But with that said, particularly as it pertains to Clemson, I get the fans' frustration with what Dabo said. And what did he say? He said, we are not going to make deals with players prior to January 2nd. Right? Now, this is a little bit of interpretation on my end. And this is a little bit of forward thinking or trying to read into what he's saying. What he didn't say was our NIL collective or our front office or the guys that recruit the portal. He didn't say they're not talking to their agents. He didn't say they're not talking to their representatives.
And
not talking to
I'm not saying that either. Yeah.
He said we're not locking down deals prior to January 2nd.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, in my opinion, that does not mean that deals are not being discussed with representatives, that there are gauging of interest by various portal entries. I think that is happening. And if if that's not happening, if I'm wrong, in the event that I'm wrong, and Clemson is just going to sit here and wait until the clock hits January 2nd and then go try to recruit the portal, we're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing either.
And we're not going to get anybody that is going to be a major contributor on this team, or not very many. And so I think I've seen some fan reactions out there. And what I will say is sometimes you have to listen to what Dabo's saying and kind of try to read between the lines a little bit. That's what I gathered from it. Again, maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but you can't have this entire front office. You can't have all these guys that are evaluating talent and just tell them, hey, don't do nothing until January 2nd, right?
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. That's what I think is happening behind the scenes. I think there is communication with representatives, with agents, with whoever is talking for that athlete currently before they can enter the portal. I think those conversations are happening. I think they're gauging interest from certain athletes. They're figuring out figures that it would take to bring certain athletes in, right? I do believe some of those things are happening. Obviously, I think Dabo was referring to certain teams, certain universities out there, certain programs out there that lockdown deals and promise deals and do things in a unfavorable way. Just do some dirty deals. And those are happening all across the country right now. Make no mistake about it.
That's what I'm saying.
I think there's a way to still recruit the portal in an effective way without dabbling in that sort of stuff, where you're contacting players directly and you're directly offering them money and whatever the case may be, right? So that's my kind of take on it. But I get people's frustration. I get people being a little leery of, is Dabo Swinney really going to go into this portal cycle and do what most feel like he needs to do in this portal cycle in order to create a competitive environment and a competitive team in 2026? Because let's be honest, Jordan, if we're going to be competitive in 2026, there's a lot of work to do in this portal cycle. And I understand the group of fans out there that are like, you're going to have to prove it to me. I'll believe it when I see it. So that's just kind of where we are. And we will see soon enough. The portal opens January 2nd. So we'll see what kind of work Clemson can get done.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm not saying the conversations are not happening and like Clemson is just twiddling their thumbs until January 2nd. I mean, no responsible Power 4 program is doing that kind of thing. But listen, I really, I mean, you're just, if the guys that you truly want and the guys that you feel like, I feel like the guys that, Clemson needs to start, getting after. Sometimes, I mean, you have to get ahead of the game because other programs are getting ahead of their game. And I think that's the thing. Isaac in the chat, he said it great. I mean, if we're not mentioning any potential deals prior to the portal, players will lose interest to go ahead and secure deals already on the table. I mean, I think numbers, I think you have to discuss them at the very least. And maybe some handshakes, some winks, some nods. Those can go a long way. But obviously, like, some guys want that in writing. And so, and I think you have to do it for some of the best guys. That's just the reality. And I think Clemson should be trying to get the best guys that fit what they want to do. And just because a guy is looking for money doesn't mean they don't fit here. I think we need to get out of that mentality because everybody's looking. I mean, to a certain degree, all these players are looking for money. Yeah. So I can't fault a guy for trying to maximize whatever value he has. I'm done doing that. I'm done pretending like, oh man, just because he's asking for a bag, that means that he doesn't fit here. I mean, if he's going to play, he's going to make a difference on this football team, and he's going to do everything that you ask him to, then do whatever it takes to get him.
Yeah, and I think it's important to differentiate between guys that
this is a disaster game. I'm sorry.
Money is the most important thing versus money is a part of it, right? Like, Clemson's not going to land the guys where the money is the most important thing, because those guys are going to shop you around. They're going to go to other programs. They're going to see what they're going to give. Then they're going to bring it back, and they're going to bounce programs off of each other, right? Clemson's not going to land those guys, right? But money is a very important part of this whole piece, right? Like, these guys want to get paid. Guess what? TJ Parker got paid a lot of money to stay last year. So did Cade Klubnik. Will Heldt got paid to come to Clemson from Purdue last year, right? So Clemson does this stuff, right? It's just they're never going to land the guy where the money is the only thing that matters, right? Whoever pays me the most, that's where I'm going. Clemson ain't landing those guys. One, if they're very high profile, we don't have the money to compete. with some of the schools that will go after them. Two, I don't know if you really want that guy where money is the only thing that matters. Money can be important because it very much is. All of us grown folks, all of us adults who have lives and bills to pay know that money is very important, right? But that's just kind of my take on it. So we got to throw some money around in the portal. We got to go get some guys, and that has to start now. Like, you have to start talking to representatives. You have to start getting. You have to start gauging interest, right, and know where you stand with certain guys, because if that guy's not interested at all, well, then don't waste any time. Move on to the next, right? So, and the portal is a very quick evolving thing. It's very fluid. It goes fast, and you got to be prepared and be ready. And I would be shocked if Clemson is not doing these things behind the scenes. By things behind the scenes, I mean talking to representatives, gauging interest, doing their due diligence with different athletes, as far as you can go kind of where they fit and those kind of things. Like, if you're not doing that, why'd you hire a whole front office? There's no point in having them if that's not what you're doing.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes, though. It's like I said, outside of 2010, this may be, and it may be bigger of an offseason than that. This is, if not one of the most pivotal off seasons of the Dabo Swinney tenure. And we're going to see if this program is going to continue to try and compete for championships, because I think you'll know by the end of this offseason what direction this program is going to go. Are we going to continue to slide, or are we going to have a sort of course correction and try to get closer to championship level football where this program used to be? Those are questions that I think we'll get the answers to this offseason, whether it's for the good or for the bad. I think we'll know. So it's exciting and stressful when you think about it like that.
Yeah, very much so. And we'll see. We'll see kind of what their efforts, whether they bear fruit or not. I mean, I do think I think they're going to take the portal seriously. So, like, don't take me as saying, like, I don't think they're going to. They've invested and made sure that they're prepared, but they could be doing more, and that's the thing, because other programs are still doing more, and that's
right.
And I'm not saying like Clemson just needs to abandon it. Like I said, I'm not saying Clemson needs to abandon everything, all their principles and all that. But at a certain point, I mean, this is just the reality of the sport now. I mean, you have to be able to play the game. And I don't know. I get what Dabo's saying, and listen, and he's not saying that they're just not they're going to wait till January 2nd. So. But we'll see whether whether their strategy pays off and whether they get the guys they actually need for next year. But we'll see. You got Lane Kiffin retweeting his comments. I thought that was something. He continues to be the social media troll that he is. So I don't have much thoughts on that, but I saw a few people on X making a big deal about it. So whatever.
Yo, I literally pay no attention to what Lane Kiffin does on the internet. It is what it is.
Yeah.
He is who he is. He's always going to be that way. All right, guys, we got 32 people in the live chat right now. Thank you guys so much for sticking that out with us. We got one more segment we're going to do tonight, and then we're going to turn it over to you guys, the comment section. So stick around, get your questions, get your comments into the live chat, and we will get to those in just a few minutes. Hit that like button while you're in here. It really helps us out, helps support the channel, and we appreciate your support there. The ACC has announced a new scheduling format going forward. 2026 will be a transition year to the 9-game conference schedule that the ACC has now adopted. And then in 2027, this final version of what the new ACC scheduling format will take effect. So, Jordan, we got to talk about this ACC scheduling format. It's a little weird. It's a little wonky. There's a lot of opinions out on social media in the college football community about the scheduling format. Some people hate it. Some people like it. Some people are indifferent to it. So let's get into what the scheduling format is. So for the 2026 version of it, it's going to serve as kind of a bridge to this 9-game conference schedule that the ACC is moving towards. So 12 teams will play a 9-game ACC schedule. And then there will be 5 teams that play an 8-game ACC conference schedule this coming season. So, yes, you heard me correct. There will be 12 teams play 9 games, 9 conference games, and 5 teams that play 8 conference games in 2026. Also, some changes that they have made. Each program must have a minimum of 10 Power 4 opponents annually. So for those that are playing an 8-game conference schedule this upcoming season, which Clemson is one of those teams playing the 8-game conference schedule, you have to have 2 Power 4 opponents to fill out your schedule, which obviously for Clemson is going to be very easy this upcoming season. Obviously, they kick off the season against LSU, and they end the season with South Carolina. So that's your 2 Power 4 opponents for your 10 total Power 4 opponents that you have to play annually. With the 17 teams in the ACC going forward after the 2026 season. So in 2026, 12 teams play 9 games, 5 teams play 8 games. In 2027, they will adopt the full new scheduling model in the ACC where 16 teams will play a 9-game conference schedule, and 1 team per season will only play 8 games as far as an ACC conference schedule. Jordan, your thoughts on this new scheduling model? What do you think about the ACC moving to a 9-game schedule? What do you think about how they're transitioning in 2026 and then moving to the full transition schedule in 2027 and having different teams in the same conference play a different number of conference games? How do you think that's going to work out? A little weird. Your just overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's strange for sure. It raises a lot of questions. I mean, from a Clemson standpoint, obviously next season, you're going to be the one team playing 8 conference games, and then obviously you've got LSU and South Carolina to meet the 10 games. But going forward, it's. I mean, this is just a consequence of this conference being too damn big. It is what it is. 17 teams,
too big.
Like we said from the beginning, the reason why Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina voted against expansion, well, among other reasons, was this. Now the conference is bloated. You got a lot of. I mean, obviously, moving to a 9-game conference schedule helps mitigate. Just having a lot of your conference not playing each other, but it doesn't do that much to help. And obviously this past season with Duke making and winning the ACC championship game, despite losing to 2 of the teams they were tied with, just tells you everything that's wrong with how things are. And they did announce that they will be reviewing the tiebreaker policy, because obviously you'll now have teams that have played uneven amounts of conference games going forward. Obviously, next season will be interesting, and then going forward, they'll have at least 1 team playing 8. So it just, it's so convoluted. It's so messy.
Like, what do you do? Like, just hypothetically, right? Like, a couple scenarios here, right? You got, let's say you got a 9-0 team, right? And they're in the conference championship. And then you have a 8-1 team in the conference against a team that's only playing 8 conference games and they're 8-0. Who gets in? Like,
I don't know.
That's a legitimate scenario that could happen though. Like, you could have 2 teams vying for that second spot in the ACC championship game. One team can be 8-1, the other team can be 8-0.
Hell, and
Yeah,
what
that
happened?
team lost a conference game, but they also played one more conference game.
Yep.
So, do you penalize them for that? Like, I don't know. I mean, this is weird. I think there's going to be problems with it. I will be interested to see the tiebreaker scenarios that they come out with this revised schedule, with this new scheduling format in the ACC, because obviously as it stands, they can't go forward with what they currently have. There have to be changes. I feel like they're just banking on, 2027 and going forward, that team that's playing only 8 conference games to not be a contender in the ACC.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what they're trying to bank on. Like, because otherwise, like, it's going to be really hard if that sort of scenario that I just painted, like, becomes a reality. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, I don't feel like there's a fair way to discern that. I mean, I don't know. They'll do it some way. It'll be, strength of record or whatever your opponents did. They'll do it some way like that. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. But again, this is why you made the perfect point. This is exactly why you don't have these big, massive, bloated conferences that make no sense, because now you're trying to move to non-conference games and you can't make sense of it because you have 17 freaking teams and you can't make it happen. You shouldn't have brought in all those extra teams.
Yeah.
But again, here we are.
I mean, listen, and listen, nothing against them, but had no business adding Cal and Stanford. I mean, I think SMU has been a worthy addition to the ACC, and they're paying their own way. It made a lot of sense for the ACC to go ahead and do that. And I get that Cal and Stanford are in on they're getting what, like a half share revenue in terms of rev share or whatever it is. They're not getting a full, but regardless,
they need to get going and get none.
Yeah, it's regardless. It's the conference is too big, man. The expansion was never. I get why they did it in the moment. It was kind of a panic move with Clemson and Florida State, and suing the ACC and things like. And obviously there was a lot of kind of uncertainty after Texas and Oklahoma defected from the Big 12, and then you had Oregon and Washington do this, and UCLA and USC do the same and basically just kill the Pac-12. But now this is like ridiculous. I mean, just reading the format, it's the silliest thing. Like, it doesn't even, like, what other sports league, not just football, what other sports league has like a scheduling format like this? Like, it's where teams are playing uneven amounts of games in conference like that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I especially this year, like the 12-5 thing, like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
I don't know where that number came. I don't know why they chose that split.
Why 12-5? Like, where'd that come from? Like, what was the logic behind that? What was the logic behind the teams that you chose to play 9 games this upcoming season and the ones that you chose to play 8? Like, was it because teams like Clemson, for instance, right? They had LSU scheduled, and obviously, they play South Carolina. So you're like, well, we'll let them play 8 games so they can keep their schedule as is. Like, was that a fact? Like, I don't know, man. Much like everything the ACC does, it's confusing. It makes no sense, and it's rarely ever the intelligent solution. Like, the ACC is always just a joke. And I think the scheduling format is just par for the course for the ACC. Makes zero sense. But so did the addition of Cal and Stanford. Or Sanford.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is the ACC. I expect nothing less. It's like that old saying, like where like I came in expecting nothing, and I'm still disappointed.
Yeah.
That's the ACC in a nutshell.
That is the ACC.
You expect nothing, and they still disappoint you. So
Always.
Shout out to the ACC. I would expect nothing less of this dead conference that is currently, this is the zombie conference. They're dead. They've been dead, but they're still walking around somehow.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder how Clemson is going to go about things going forward. Because I mean, after 2026, you have the scheduling agreement with Notre Dame. What does that look like? You have non-con games scheduled with Georgia and Oklahoma on the docket. You have like several with Georgia. So like it's I don't know. It's going to greatly impact how Clemson what Clemson's schedule looks like. I mean, they're going to have. I mean, I know they added ECU for 1 year. I mean, is that going to survive? Because you need that spot now, really, to if you want to fill it with an in-state school or FCS school or what, or maybe they just don't for that year. I mean, I don't know what Clemson's plan is as far as what that's concerned. Whether they're just going to leave things as it is, and some years they're going to play 11 Power 4 opponents on the schedule. If that's what they want to do, I mean, so be it. I'm not necessarily against it, but if other programs are going to do the bare minimum, I don't know why you're not. So and
that's kind of where I see it going. Like I don't see a future where Clemson or any school for that matter is going to play 11 Power 4 opponents.
Yeah.
I think the scheduling format will stay much the same as it currently is, and this is disappointing. Like, I didn't want non-conference games because I really enjoy Clemson's non-con schedule, right? They always go get somebody. They're always playing, Georgia or Auburn or LSU or, whoever.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. I mean, like, they're always stepping out and getting really good competition in the non-con. And then obviously South Carolina every year is your other Power 4 non-con game. So Clemson's been playing 10 Power 4 opponents every year for forever, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like that's just the norm for us. That's what we do. I know other schools out there don't do that, but like that's the norm for Clemson. And unfortunately, the 9-game ACC schedule is going to force Clemson to not be able to go and get a home and home with a Texas A&M or an Auburn or a Georgia or an LSU or whoever they were going. That Notre Dame thing, that's going to have to go away unless you're willing to play 11 Power 4 opponents a year. And I don't think it benefits you to do that because I don't think anybody else is going to do that.
Yeah.
So the only other thing you could do is not play the South Carolina game. Well, that's not going to happen.
That's not happening.
So your schedule is going to be like your only big out-of-conference game every year is just going to be South Carolina. And I love that game. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't ever want to see it go anywhere. Like, in my opinion, that game has to happen. But it's just disappointing now that we're probably not going to see any more of these. Like, this will probably be the last year of Clemson having a big Power 4 non-con opponent that's not South Carolina. And that's disappointing because they've always done a really good job of scheduling these non-con big matchups. But here we are, non-conference games. So I think that changes, unfortunately.
Yep. Unfortunately.
All right, guys, that does it for the show tonight. 30 people still in here hanging out with us. Appreciate each and every one of you. We will turn it over to you guys, the comment section. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. We do the show every Tuesday night, year round, throughout the off season, 8 p.m. right here, talking Clemson football, talking college football. So stick it out with us. We'll be here with you through the long, desolate off season. We'll be here with you through the playoffs, talking the playoffs. I'm sure we'll stream a couple games as well for you guys. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to click that join button and become a channel member so you get access to those exclusive videos. But yeah, let's hear from the people, Jordan. Let's see what they're talking about, what kind of questions they have for us tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. Basketball, shout out to men's basketball real quick, getting it done. Wasn't the prettiest of ball games, but they closed it out against South Carolina. I mean, not like I said, not the prettiest win, but in basketball sometimes it's just win, type of thing. And they took care of business. They were in control for most of the game. After it kind of had a little bit of a slow start, but really got things going. And once they grabbed the lead, they didn't really relinquish it. South Carolina, they fought back a little at a couple points, but defensively they were, Clemson was really solid and they hit just enough shots. So can't complain too much. You getting a win over the rival. So you're 2 for 2 in the major sports, at least right now. I don't know where they sit in the actual Palmetto series right now. I guess they're 2-2, 0-1. Because I think men's or maybe did women's soccer win, or did both men and women's soccer tie? I want to say they both tied this year.
Hold on.
I can look this up. But
never mind. My phone just died.
Oh, mine's about to die too. Let's see. Clemson currently leads 4-1, apparently. Thank you to South Carolina for South Carolina's website for having a up-to-date count. I don't know why Clemson doesn't have one. Latest matchups. Yep. So yeah. Oh no. So men's soccer won. It was women's soccer tied. So men's soccer 4-1. Women's soccer they tied 0-0. Volleyball. That's right. Clemson volleyball won. They haven't won in that matchup in a while. They won 3 sets to 2. Obviously football. Clemson got the point in golf, and obviously tonight they won in men's basketball, and South Carolina won in women's. So the only win that South Carolina currently has in the Palmetto series is women's basketball. So
no surprise there.
Start.
No surprise they got to win.
No surprise there. But even then, listen, that was I watched a lot of that game, and Clemson was in it late in the early in that fourth quarter, and then it kind of got away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think
improving.
They made a good hire. I think they're on the uptick, but it's going to take some time for Poppy to build that program. It's not been good for a long time.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. But you got a really strong recruiting class coming in next year.
Yep.
There's a lot of positive momentum around the program. So happy to see the girls starting to show some signs of life, because that program was kind of just wallowing for a while.
Yeah. Always good.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see what you guys are talking about. John says, I think the chances of UGA sticking with the Clemson series is slim now that they also have to go to a 9-game conference schedule. Yeah, I mean, the future of that series is definitely in question, which sucks because I like playing Georgia. I think a lot of Clemson fans like playing Georgia. It's a historical rival, and he hadn't played as often in the 21st century when you used to play every season. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big matchup for recruiting purposes, for just geographically. So, hate to see that game go if that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yes, Sweat Sox. We do have Notre Dame. We do have that scheduling agreement with Notre Dame from 2027 to 36.
Yeah.
Something like that. Arthur asks, hey guys, if Notre Dame can play 11 Power 4 opponents, Clemson should be able to do it. Would you agree? I mean,
I'm fine with Clemson playing 11 Power 4 opponents. I just want to make sure they're not hurting themselves by doing so.
Yeah.
Like, I would love for the scheduling format to stay the same. Like, for them to continue to step out of conference and schedule your Georgias and your Texas A&Ms and your LSUs and your Auburns and and your Notre Dames and I want that to continue. It's not my wish that those games go away at all. I just think that it's a real possibility that those games go away because of the 9-game conference schedule. Plus, you got to play South Carolina every year. Is Clemson going to be willing to play 11 Power 4 opponents a year?
Yeah.
Maybe. I wouldn't be mad if they do. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. John says, we complain about Clemson's problems, but at least we're not as bad off as the Yellow Jackets lose so much of their offensive staff and players. Yeah, it's
do they have any of their offensive staff left?
Yeah, no, it sounds like Buster Faulkner was everything to them.
He gutted that side. Now they lost their quarterback.
Yeah.
Philo? Aaron Philo? He's gone now. So their quarterback and waiting behind Haynes King is now gone. Man, tough break for the Jackets, dude.
Yeah.
Tough break. Looks like their entire offensive staff and their offensive side of the ball is probably going to fall apart because, I mean, with all that offensive staff leaving and now your quarterback leaving, there's probably going to be some more players hit the portal now too on that side of the ball.
All right.
So it sucks for them, man. Like that's tough. Especially, would it have been different if they would have finished better than they did instead of losing 3 of their last 4? I don't know, but that's a tough break because heading into the month of November, they were in full control of their own destiny and heading to the ACC championship game. And they just kind of let it slip. And now at least their offensive side of the football is being gutted. So that sucks.
Yeah, listen, I'm not complaining though. Georgia Tech being good is not great for Clemson. So I don't. I mean, not with their counterpart in the state already being one of the better programs in college football. Not don't need both Georgia.
It makes recruiting difficult. It makes recruiting more difficult, and we recruit the state of Georgia very heavily. So.
KD says, can't wait for baseball season. I strongly don't recommend this cold weather. Yeah, man, it's make sure y'all are running your faucets at night, does either, because it's cold, man.
What was it, yesterday morning?
Yeah.
I woke up, took the dog out. It was 17 degrees outside.
Yep.
I was like, this is absolutely not.
Yeah.
I moved out of New York for a reason, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't stay there any longer than I had to.
John in the chat is laughing at us right now, complaining. Us Southerners complaining about it, but
yeah, yeah.
Hey, listen, man, it's cold. Anything below 50, it's cold to me, man. I'm not. I'm not suited for the cold weather, man. So y'all, all of our listeners up north, y'all be easy on us. Let's see. Yeah, Notre Dame does. Yeah, they also play G5 opponents. I mean, they play the service academies. They've played teams like Marshall. Like, I mean, I respect them for, they don't ever schedule an FCS. Well, until this was the first year I think they played an FCS team, or was it this year that they did, or last year they played? Who did they play? I know that it was. I think it was at HBCU. Let me look this up. Because now I'm curious. Was it this year? I feel like it was this year, but it might have been last year. Yeah, I mean, they did. Yeah, they played because they played. Well, this year they played Navy and Boise State, so they didn't even play 11 Power 4 games this year.
Yeah.
Let me see, 2024. Might have been a couple of years ago. Hell, last year they played Miami of Ohio and they played Northern Illinois and Navy, so they only played, and then they played Army, so they only played 8. They only played 8 Power 4.
Power 4 games 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They made the playoff. They played Northern Illinois, who they lost to, Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. They did lose to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, they played Navy and then they played Army. I mean,
Yeah.
Navy and Army were good in 2024. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but it's still Navy and Army.
Still Navy and Army, man. What was the year
they
played?
They don't have the same athletes that you have. What
was the year they played at HBC? Oh, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, they played Tennessee State. That's okay. Because I was like, what? I know they played an FCS school a couple of years
8
ago.
Power 4 games is crazy, though.
Yeah.
Like that. And you made a playoff off of that? Like, it's a little wild.
So, listen, Notre Dame wasn't even playing 11 Power 4 opponents a year. So,
I didn't think they did, but I wasn't 100% sure either. So,
yeah. When have they ever? Because, 2022, Marshall, BYU wasn't a member of the Big 12 yet. UNLV and Navy. So, yeah,
they play a lot of Group of 5.
Yeah, so eight Power 4 opponents in the regular season.
Yeah.
And they played South Carolina in the bowl game. 2021, Toledo, Cincinnati, who they lost to. Navy. 9 Power 4 opponents. So they've never played.
They've never played 11. Yeah, at least in the recent future. Or the recent past.
Yeah. 2020. This actually might be their. Well, they were in the ACC, so that was called the COVID year. So.
Oh yeah, the 2020.
They still played USF in the non-con, so as their one non-con. So, 2019, New Mexico, Bowling Green, Navy. So. Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't play 11 Power 4 opponents. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see teams doing it. I really don't. I hope it becomes the norm. Like, more Power 4 games is not a bad thing in my opinion as a college football fan. Like, that's just more games that are entertaining and better to watch. It's not exactly fun to watch your team beat up on Charleston Southern or Furman or the Citadel or.
Yeah. So, listen, yeah, I mean, I don't see why Clemson should subject themselves to that.
Yeah, if nobody else is going to play 11, why would you?
Yeah,
is kind of my point with
why put yourself at a active disadvantage?
Right. Because if you lose that game, they're going to count it against you, right? So, yeah, the Army-Navy game was a good game this past weekend. It was good. John says was a good one. It was.
Yeah, that was a barn burner, man. That was a lot of fun.
Unfortunately, the good guys lost. So
yeah, sorry.
Screw Navy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Tiger Tom says, one of my old military buddies I talk with regularly lives in Madison, Wisconsin. He had 2 degrees the other 2 degrees the other day with -20 wind chill.
Hell no.
Hell no.
No. I don't miss stuff like that. When I was in upstate New York, yeah, it was similar. Yeah, no. I don't know. I do not miss that. It is miserable. At a certain point, I don't care how warm your clothes are. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Jermaine says, hey, guys, it's been a minute, but always enjoy your show. Thank you. My question is, if Clemson has a mediocre season in 2026, like another 7-5, or keep losing to the SEC while other teams pass them by, will Dabo be fired? Hard to say. I mean,
I'd say probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
but the pressure will certainly be at an all-time high. 2 7-5 seasons in a row. Does he get fired? I would still lean towards probably not, but I mean, there'd be some legitimate questions happening if you have another extremely disappointing season.
Yeah. I mean,
you're going to, especially if, and I think part of it depends on how he goes about this offseason too.
Yeah.
Because let's just say he completely shuts off the portal or gets a guy or two here or there. And then you go into next season and, it's off the rails again. At that point, it may be a different story, right? Like I truly do think what he does this offseason matters for the perception going forward, and then how much rope he'll get.
Yeah.
I mean, Dabo's built up probably about as much equity as you can at a college football program at Clemson. Like, he's the guy at Clemson. Like, he's the best coach to ever coach at Clemson. He's produced the most amount of success at Clemson. He built this program into a national power. He's got 2 national championships. Tons of ACC championships, right? So it's going to take a lot for Clemson to get there. I don't think another 7-5 season would get the administration there. Now, there'll be fans for sure that'll be ready for him to be gone, but I don't think the administration will get there after 2 7-5 seasons. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess it depends. I mean, I don't want to say for certain, because I mean that's just not been a topic of conversation internally right now. I mean, that's not on the mind of anybody right now. So it's hard to say. Just what does that look like? It's kind of uncharted territory, because I mean Clemson hasn't really been in this position where they've had to, they've been in real conversation about firing a Hall of Fame head coach. That's just they're great coaches. Have either, either stuck around a really long time like Frank Howard, or they stepped down for reasons beyond results on the field like Danny Ford. So it wasn't. This is a completely different type of situation, because this is the greatest coach in school history. And I don't know. And like you said, he's built up a ton of equity. So it's hard. I don't want to it's hard to speculate right now on what that would look like if Clemson were to go 7-5 again. And like you said, it depends on, if internally, if they felt like Dabo did everything he could have to get this team right for next season and they still weren't good. I don't know if that would be a feather in his cap or a positive for him in terms of like keeping him, or a negative. Like they just go ahead and pull the trigger. So so I don't know. I just it's hard to say. And I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it really is like uncharted territory.
Just judging by Dabo Swinney's comments on, some of his more annoying comments about, I'll go do this somewhere else. I'm too young. I'm only whatever. I'll be coaching somewhere else if they got rid of me, right? Like, so what that tells me is he's not looking to step away from coaching anytime soon. So with that said, he knows the expectations at Clemson. He created them. He also knows that last season was completely unacceptable and won't be an acceptable thing long term at Clemson, right? So, I guess I say that to say, like, I think he's motivated to turn this around. I don't think Dabo Swinney enjoys getting up, in front of the media 5 times in a season to discuss a Clemson loss, right? Like, I don't think he enjoys that, right? So, it may get to that point at some time in the future. I hope it doesn't. I hope he's able to right the ship and get back to a more competitive version of Clemson. But I think it'll be a while, like, before the administration and the university got to the point where they would fire Dabo. He's just got, like I said before, he's just got so much equity. Like, there's no coach in Clemson's history that can say what Dabo Swinney can say. Like, none. So when you're that guy, it becomes a little murky and muddy. When do you move on if they're not producing in the way that you expect, or that they used to, or how many seasons do they get? I don't know that anyone knows that answer, but I would be surprised if it's just one more quote unquote bad season. I don't think another 7-5 would affect Dabo Swinney's job.
Yeah. James says they fired Danny Ford. Not really. Now it's kind of you could describe it as a firing, but he did step down, and there were, like, he wasn't formally fired, terminated from his contract from Clemson. He stepped down. Now, the situation between him and the administration was untenable. Like, there was no way they were going to be able to go forward as it stood then, with him as head coach, and things be good, because he was done, and they were also done, and it had nothing, and it really didn't have much to do with the results on the field, because again, he was very successful. They had just, his last season, they won 10 games. I don't consider that a firing. And I think that obviously the situation with him and Dabo is completely different. So, this is something that you have not really seen before, because Dabo is not disliked by the athletic director and the board of trustees and things like that. And the school isn't ashamed of of any sort of NCAA investigations and things like that. So I think that's it's a completely different situation. So I don't want to say that like I don't want to say like those are similar. You really haven't had this kind of situation happen where one of your best coaches is in a situation like this where he's done a lot of great things and now the results are waning and you're not winning like you used to. That just never really like Danny Ford didn't really get the opportunity to fall off. So because he was ready to go, he was done. So I think this is really different. But yeah, I don't know. Next season is next season, and I think we'll just see what happens. What does 7-5 look like? And what were the reasons you went 7-5? Because you put together a great portal class, and maybe you have some bad injury luck, and you just lose some games. Like maybe that might not be that might not be a reason to fire him. And listen, it could be this could be one of those situations where maybe there's nothing Dabo does, barring like a complete disaster of a year, like going 4-8, 3-9, or something like that. Where that could get this administration to fire him, but maybe they just say we'll let him coach out his contract and we won't extend him. I mean, I think that's in the possibility. I mean, you just let you let him walk into the sunset or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. We're not there yet.
We're not there, and I think it'd have to get significantly worse. It'd have to get pretty bad. On the field for Dabo to get fired, Obviously, if off the field stuff is completely different, but it'd have to get bad. Honestly, don't even know if like a 3-win season, it'd be bad, but like, does he get fired for that if he wins 3 games next year? I don't think so. I really don't. I know fans would be pissed. I'd be pissed. Like, it'd be a problem, but I still don't think he gets fired.
Yeah, it's just hard to me envision.
Being honest, like I don't see a scenario where in the next calendar year, Dabo Swinney's fired at Clemson.
Yeah, it's hard to envision. It's hard to envision. I can't imagine it right now.
I can't either. I can't see that, but who knows what the future holds?
Yeah,
I would prefer if he just gets it turned back around and we get back to that championship level again. That's what I would prefer. I don't want to see Dabo Swinney fired.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
James says most of the investigations were on Charlie Pell. Yeah, they were, but Danny Ford was the face of the program. He was on Charlie Pell's staff. There were a lot of things. That was a time period where Clemson was really worried about their self-image, and the program was kind of they kind of were raked through the mud in the media. Some of it fair, some of it really overdone, and obviously they were coming off of probation, so there was just the administration wanted to distance themselves from everything that had to do with Charlie Pell and the things that went on then, and there were other reasons too. I mean, Danny Ford had a lot of frustrations. You mentioned it. He did want better facilities. He did not get along with the athletic director. There were a lot of things internally that were not tenable. And it just kind of reached a boiling point. And he said, "I'm done." And, and the administration they weren't going to fight to keep him. So so what wasn't an official firing, but both sides were, it was a mutual parting of ways. And the most literal sense. Now, fan base loved Danny Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, they didn't. They didn't want to see him go.
Yeah, they were not happy.
Yeah, that was a very. I mean, I'm sure people. I'm talking like I was alive during then, but
Right.
I mean, I've heard the stories. I've talked to people that were to fans that were around, and it was a very unpopular decision. And obviously, you go out and go and get Ken Hatfield, and that was extremely unpopular. Like the fan base wanted to run him out of town the moment the hire was announced. So,
yeah,
like,
didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
Did not work out.
So. Yeah, the Clemson history books. I mean, it's interesting that time period in Clemson football is kind of just because of how successful Clemson has been the last 15 years. Like, it just, you don't really talk about it that much, but it really is interesting to kind of go back and find like old news articles and old press clippings about all the things that happened during that time, because it was an interesting time in college athletics in general. I mean, there was a lot of steroid usage, and
there's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
A lot of crazy stuff going on in recruiting. Yeah. It was kind of it was a very interesting time in the sport that I like to go back and look at sometimes, because sometimes it's hard to find information, so you got to do some digging, because some of that wasn't recorded.
Just wait till we're really old, Jordan, and the books are written on this time period of college football. It's going to be wild.
Man, I can't wait till when they get to the section on Lane Kiffin. That's gonna be something, man.
Oh, man.
That's going to be something.
He's such a troll, dude.
Yeah.
It's funny, though. It's funny. I'll give him that. He's good at it.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, Tiger Thompson. Back then, the general belief was that Max Lennon forced Danny out. There were signs all over the place calling for Lennon's head. Yeah. That was an extremely unpopular move at the time, because, like I said, everybody loved Danny Ford. I mean, people still love Danny Ford. He still lives in the Clemson area. I've seen him a couple. I've never gotten the chance to talk to him. I've seen him a couple of times at Clemson games. Yeah, he's very much beloved in the community still. But I think he definitely still holds some hard feelings about how things played out back then. But I think he still has a lot of love for the place. Maybe not so much the people he used to work with. So, but shout out to Coach Ford.
Yeah.
First to prove it could be done here.
That's right. First to ever do it.
Yeah. Bodine says, do you think Chris Denson is the next quarterback? As in the literal next quarterback? No.
I don't think so. I think what Chris Denson did in the Furman game is being a little overblown. He's electric. Don't get me wrong. Kid is, athletically, he's a dog, right? But he's got developing to do. He needs to develop physically. He needs to get stronger. He needs to get bigger. And then from a throwing capability, like, there's some growth that has to happen there, right? Could he potentially be like a future starter for Clemson, like as in not in 2026? 100%. If he's willing to grind it out and develop in the ways that he needs to, I definitely could see Chris Denson being a future starting quarterback for Clemson. But I don't think in 2026 will be his time.
Okay, he says, how does one find articles about said events? You gotta you got to do some digging. I mean, there's sources on, if you go on like Danny Ford's Wikipedia page and you go down to like the source page, there's articles about how things play. I think there's one. Let me see if I can find it. I think there was one on USA Today that's in there that you can read. It's from 10 years ago. That kind of chronicles some of the events, but you kind of have to do some digging because not every, you just didn't have things that were published on. You didn't just like type an article out and it was posted on a news website. Like
yeah,
a lot of it was newspapers, interviews, things like that. And some of them are just, some things we'll never know, because they're kind of lost to time a little bit. But
right.
You really just a lot of it, especially in college athletics, because it just wasn't the coverage of the sport wasn't the same. It's just harder to get good information about it. So, but there's stuff. I mean, obviously, talking to people who were around then, and some old records and old contracts and old all sorts of things that people have preserved. I'm talking like this was like 200 years ago, but the reality. But I'm saying all that to say that like just college athletics.
You're right though. Like the sport was not covered like it is now. Like
yeah,
I mean, there's endless coverage on college football now. That was not the case. Like you'd have to pick up your local paper to figure out what was going on with the Tigers.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't. You couldn't log on to YouTube and hear 47 different. College football YouTubers talk about everything under the sun when it comes to college football.
Yeah.
Not to mention, ESPN and all Fox and all these other, it's a saturated kind of market when it comes to the coverage of college football now. But to your point, that was not the case.
No, like you would not have seen news about Lane Kiffin's daughter dating a player at LSU. Like that's not
you
something
wouldn't even have known about it. Like,
yeah, it's just
in fact, in order to figure anything out, you had to go looking for it. Like,
yeah,
you
had to be around to know that, and that kind of stuff stayed within the local community. Like,
right, nobody was talking about it, right? Like,
so that it just a different time,
different world, man.
Different world.
But
Katie says RIP Steve Tannehill, Coach T to me. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who were coached by Steve Tannehill. That's that was sad to hear of his passing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really coached me in high school. I know
that's right. You told me that. Yeah,
I know he's a South Carolina legend, but I love that guy. He was great, man.
Yeah.
He was tough now. Like, he get on you. But, I love playing for that guy. Probably the best year of my high school career was when he was my coach. It was just one short season, but great coach, great guy, great mentor. Really sad to hear that, but glad his suffering is over and he can be free from that. So
yeah, absolutely. I was just listening to, a few weeks ago. I listened to an interview of his. I mean, that guy, he's a talker. But he had a lot of great insight and it's sad. I didn't even realize he was dealing with that. Looking at him, like I could tell, like you could kind of see it, but I didn't realize that was what was going on. But I'm glad that he's no longer suffering, and our hearts are with the Gamecock community, and obviously they lost a great one, and he delivered one of the more heart-wrenching moments in the rivalry. Glad I was not alive for that, because him signing the paw, I think I would have lost it.
That's brutal, dude. That's brutal. That was brutal. But he was definitely a legend. Great great coach. Hard-nosed coach, but great coach. He'd get in your stuff for sure. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I hate it. But unfortunately, death is a part of this life that we have. So
indeed. All right, let's do one more and then get on out of here. We've been the talk about the history of the late Danny Ford era. Kind of took up a lot of the conversation. Juju Thomas says, I don't know if y'all talked about it, but are y'all thinking CV is the guy this coming year, or are we going to have to get a guy in the portal? I'm of the belief you go and get a guy in the portal, whether CV is the guy or not.
Yeah, I think you go get a guy. That's either going to start or at a minimum is going to compete for that starting position.
Yeah.
No disrespect to CV, but I think you got to go get a guy.
Yeah. And listen, I think there's certainly a world where Chris Vezina is the best. You go get a guy, and Chris Vezina is the best quarterback on the roster, sure. and he's the guy you roll with. And
people develop, people get better. Yeah. If you bring a guy in and CV legitimately wins the job and he's the best option, hey, by all means, let's do it. But I think you got to go get a guy.
Yeah, because even like just with your quarterback situation now, because even if you are just dead set on running with Chris Vezina as QB1, you have nothing behind him that is even remote. You should be even remotely comfortable being your backup quarterback right now. That's just the reality. And like that's no disrespect to Chris Denson. No disrespect to Tate Reynolds coming in, who I think has a bright future and could end up being the guy in the future. Great physical tools. The guy played 2 games of his senior year, and he at a position that he's only been playing for 2 years. That's not your backup quarterback, man. I'm sorry. You need. I think if you're serious, you need to go get a guy.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be one of the top names? Might not be, but you need to go get somebody that you feel like can give you capable snaps at quarterback now. That's just me. The staff might see Dabo and the staff might see it differently, but if you go into next season with the quarterback room staying the exact same as it is now, I'm not feeling very comfortable.
Yeah,
that just is what it is. Tate Reynolds might end up playing baseball. No, I mean he's spending this season to play football.
Not this spring. He's not.
He's so.
And honestly, if he doesn't play this spring, I question if he ever will.
Yeah. He'll be coming in
behind the goal of his to play baseball at Clemson, but I mean, I just don't know. I don't.
It's just hard to do both in this day and age. I mean,
it really is. And outside of doing it his first year, like, what else is going to be a time where you can break off for basically the entire spring and go play baseball? Like, as a quarterback, I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to happen. I think and he's made it clear that he's not going to play this spring. So, to be completely honest, unless he just goes and plays baseball and, kind of moves away from football, I don't think he ever plays baseball at Clemson.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I see it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, it just in this day and age, it's with how much you have to invest in when you play a sport now, and the emphasis that's being put on specialization now. You just the days of guys playing multiple sports like that. There's going to be few and far between. I mean, last guy that did that for you, Will Taylor, gave it a good go for a while, for a little bit, but even he was just like, okay, I gotta stick to baseball, and it worked out for him because he's killing it. He's killing it in the minors right now. Hopefully, I'd be excited to see him get his shot in the majors here soon. But you're just not going to see that very often. Yeah. That's the reality, and I don't know if Tate is a guy that, especially at a position like quarterback, I don't see a scenario where that he's not Kyle Parker, and you're not going to see Kyle Parkers anymore, really.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
All right, I think that's a good place to end us off on. We've been yapping it up for 2 hours now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Katie says the offensive playbook was 740 plus plays, 20 plus formations, and he expected us to know it all by week 1. Yeah, he was demanding in that way. Where'd you play for him at? What school? Just curious.
Yeah. It's always cool to hear how many people, were influenced or coached by him.
Yeah. Like KD says, he was demanding, no doubt about it. But that's cool. All right, guys. Yeah, 2 hours 6 minutes. It's been a good show, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a lot of talk in about the portal, which I think is most Clemson's. He was at Union County, yeah. He was at what was another school? I can't remember off the top of my head. I played for him when I was at West Ashley that one season. I think it was probably the 2005, 2006.
That sounds about right. He was at
2005 football season. He was at West Ashley, and he was they got him listed as the quarterback's coach, but that dude was calling plays. It's the OC.
He was at Chesterfield.
Yeah, Chesterfield.
He was at he was at Cambridge, and then West Ashley.
Yeah.
He was at Union County. Yeah.
Union County from 2012 to 2015. KD says.
Okay. But yeah, rest in peace, Steve Tannehill.
Yeah, RIP. Prayers to his family and loved ones, and all the people that he impacted, which was a ton of people. So set the rivalry aside for a little bit and give him his flowers. So
yeah, absolutely.
Union County 14 and 15. All right, cool. That's what's up. All right. Well, guys, that's going to do it for the show tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. Still got 20 people hanging out with us. Appreciate the loyal followers that we have. The fact that y'all show up each and every week to hear what me and Jordan have to say about Clemson football and college football. Truly humbling. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Hope you get to spend time with your loved ones this holiday season. We'll have another show before Christmas, but just wanted to send you guys off with some best wishes for the holidays. So we will see you next Tuesday, same time, and we'll see if we're going to do any game streams in between for bowl games and stuff like that. So stay tuned. If we're going to do any sort of streams, we'll announce it on the channel so that you guys can be prepared and come hang out with us. So until then, guys, I'm TPC. He's Jordan Bowman. Go Tigers.
Later, y'all.